This is KFSM TV, Channel 5, Fort Smith.
It was 55 years ago today that Greenwood hit by a powerful tornado. The storm destroyed the downtown square area and damaged a number of houses. 13 people were killed from one of the strongest and deadliest tornadoes in Arkansas history. And tonight, we dive into the Channel 5 vault and find a report from reporter Cliff Walker not long after that storm hit.
It was only 1 week ago today that a twisting, churning tornado grinded through Greenwood, Arkansas, killing 13 persons and injuring over 200, and almost leveling everything in its path. Close to 400 homes were partially or completely destroyed, along with 69 Greenwood business establishments. But this community of 2,003 people is bouncing back. Through the help of volunteers, too numerous to mention all, some of the debris, former homes, belongings, and businesses, has been cleaned up. There is still a mountain of work to be finished, though, before the area gets back to normal.
Well, I'd say we're about 1/10 of the way through. We need much help in the future, but I'd say this, we've had a lot of help the last 5 or 6 days. We've done many $1,000 worth of work by volunteer workers, and we need much more to help us get back on our feet.
Need of all types of dozers, rubber-tired front-end loaders, winch trucks to get these big stumps out.
Even though much help is still needed, the spirit displayed by the community and the volunteers so far has been superb. Something that Greenwood people will never forget. That when in need, others responded and helped. The scar left by the April 19th tornado here in Greenwood may one day disappear, but it will never be forgotten by those who experienced its fury. Cliff Walker reporting from Greenwood.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at 6.
We begin tonight with the city of Greenwood marking 55 years since a deadly tornado tore through the town. Thanks for joining us for your 5 News at 6. I'm Darren Bobb. In just 4 minutes, that tornado destroyed homes and businesses. It killed 13 people, left hundreds injured. 5 News reporter Jose Carranza spoke with the mayor of Greenwood who remembers surviving that storm back in 1968.
55 years after a tornado came through Greenwood, Mayor Doug Kinslow and the community continue to remember that devastating day, which left 13 dead, hundreds injured, and many homes and businesses destroyed.
As everything was moving, you know, the people were picking up their kids or getting ready to. It's a miracle that we didn't have more casualties or fatalities than that.
Kinslow only lived a few blocks from a school here on Daisy Street. The then 10-year-old was walking home from school through the storm here on Gary Street whenever someone stopped him and asked him to get in their car.
The wind was blowing so hard, there was a lot of shrubbery there, and it was the holly bush with the real sticky holly bushes, and so I ran over to grab one of those just to kind of get, you know, stable. Didn't feel a thing. I'm sure I was petrified or terrified. So I grabbed that bush. The wind actually brought me up off my feet.
Kinslow says he didn't know the extent of the damage. There were no cell phones back then or even sirens. But his father, who owned a barbershop downtown, walked through all the destruction. After a second cup of coffee saved his life.
His barbershop was gone, totally gone, a pile of rubble. The cafe he was in had broken windows, but the structure was still there. Here my dad is walking home knowing his business is gone and not knowing if his family's still alive. And he's pausing just enough, not long, but he would pause if he came upon somebody and to check on them.
And while the community rebuilt and many came to help,
they came together and everybody did a great job and just built Greenwood back, and bigger and stronger and stronger for it.
People say that those 4 minutes in April of 1968 forever changed the community.
We built our house back, very same footprint. The foundation was there, but everything else was pretty much gone, but there was a lot of scattered brick. So my job and my siblings' job was to, as much as we could, would be to clean those brick, to reuse those brick. The thunderstorm comes up, and I mean, I didn't know that I would be scared like that, but I was pretty terrified. And I was quickly looking for a way to get to a house that we were living in after the tornado. We recently, in fact, it was kind of nervous. We had a hard time getting in our new sirens in here this last month. And there's so many people in town, as you mentioned, that are still here. that have their own individual stories, and there's probably a lot that haven't been told. We all have our own stories about the Greenwood tornado.
In Greenwood, covering news where you live, Jose Carranza, 5 News.
Two big additions they didn't have in place in 1968. Mayor says those tornado sirens are now up and running, and each school in town has a tornado shelter.